A man doesn't tremble because of your body, he trembles because of what your energy does to his mind. There's a moment, right before the fire starts, a second before everything changes. His breath is already shallow, the tension's already thick, and you're standing at the edge of something sacred. That space, my friends, that's where your power lives. And most women, they miss it. They rush it. They give it away too fast or fill it with noise, fear, performance. But not you, not anymore. Because today I'm about to show you how to own that moment like a woman who doesn't chase presence. She is the presence. And when you move like that, when you slow the whole room down with just your energy, you don't just make him want you, you make him remember you. Before we go deeper, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I put my soul into these videos because I believe in your power. I believe in your softness, your fire, and your ability to shift the entire emotional frequency of a relationship without saying a word. So if you're ready to elevate your connection, if you're ready to make him feel you in ways he didn't even know were possible, I need your support. Let's build this together. Now close your eyes for a second and imagine this. You and your man, the lights low, your body's close, the air electric. He's about to step into your space, into your body, and everything is quiet, but not empty. That quiet moment, that's not a pause, that's power. That's the exact second where you can etch yourself into his soul without ever performing. Because what happens right before intimacy, that beat, that silence, that breath, that's what makes the difference between a forgettable night and a memory that owns him. We've been lied to, ladies, sold a cheap version of seduction, told it's all about how loud you moan, how wild you move, how exotic you act. Nah, let me tell you the truth. Real power, it's in the stillness, in the breath you take when the world is waiting, in the way your eyes hold his without flinching, in the way you choose to speak, not because you're trying to keep him, but because you already know you're unforgettable. Denzel Washington once said, "True desire in the heart for anything good is God's proof to you, sent beforehand to indicate that it's yours already." You don't have to perform for love. You don't have to hustle for intimacy. You just have to become so present, so aligned, so grounded that he feels lucky to even stand in your space. And that, my friends, is what makes a man tremble. Not your body, but your control. Not what you do, but how you own the moment before it begins. So if you're ready to become the woman whose energy stays with him long after the moment ends, drop this in the comments right now. I am the moment. Say it out loud. Feel it in your chest. Type it with power. Because when you claim that energy, when you stop rushing and start inviting, everything shifts. Like, subscribe and stay with me, because what's coming next will change the way he sees you. Forever. Number 1, the look. Don't just see him, disarm him. You don't win his heart by showing your body. You win it by holding your gaze when everything in him wants to look away first. Let me tell you something, my friends. Your eyes are not ornaments. They are weapons of presence. They are invitations. They are shields. They are mirrors. The first moment he looks at you, he might admire your lips, your shape, your smile, but it's your eyes that make him pause. And if you know how to use that moment, really own that moment, you don't just take up space, you arrest his spirit. Think about this. He walks in, you're there. You could drop your gaze, you could look cute, bite your lip, flutter around hoping he notices, or you could do the thing that most women are too afraid to do. You meet him, not with fear, not with flirtation, with presence. Your eyes are saying, "I'm here, I see you, I'm not flinching." And in that moment, he doesn't just see beauty, he feels gravity. You ever watch a lioness in the wild? She doesn't run, she doesn't bark, she doesn't perform. She locks eyes and every creature around her feels that power ripple through the air. That's you. That's the energy we're calling forward now. Not the girl who looks away first, not the woman who hides behind blinking or laughing too loud. The woman who owns the gaze like it's her kingdom and he just entered it. But I get it. That moment can feel intense. You'll wonder, am I doing too much? Is this awkward? Will he think I'm weird? And that's the lie you were sold. The lie that told you femininity is soft-spoken and submissive. No, real feminine power, it's unshakable. It's soft and unflinching. It's sensual and commanding. And your eyes, that's where it starts. Denzel once said, "You pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud too." Meaning, if you want a man to see your soul, to feel something deeper, to respect and crave you beyond the physical, you got to be willing to hold that moment that most people run from. The mud is the discomfort. The reward is the memory you plant inside his body. Because when a man sees that level of presence in your gaze, he doesn't feel like just another guy. He feels seen. And you, my friend, you become the woman whose eyes show up in his dreams, whose gaze echoes in the back of his mind. You don't have to say a thing. You don't have to move. That one look can slow the whole night down. It can shift the power without force. It can make him tremble without touching him once. So next time you're standing that close, don't rush to kiss. Don't rush to speak. Just look and stay there. Because when you can hold eye contact without needing to be rescued by distraction, you say something louder than words ever could. I'm not afraid to be felt. And that, my friends, is the kind of woman he never forgets. Now stay with me, because if the eyes are the invitation, the voice is the echo. And what you do next, what you say next, that's where we raise the temperature. That's where we imprint his soul. Let's go. Number 2, the voice. Make him feel the weight of every word. A woman's voice, when anchored in truth, doesn't just enter his ears, it wraps around his nervous system and settles in his soul. You want to shake a man to his core? Don't raise your voice, lower your pace, don't shout to be heard. Let silence carry your meaning, because your voice, my friends, is not just a sound, it's a spell. And most women, bless their hearts, have been taught to use it to entertain, to please, to perform. But you're about to learn how to use it to command without force, to move him without needing a script. Let me paint the picture. You're close, real close. That moment when everything's already electric. You don't need to do anything dramatic, you just speak. But how you speak, that's where the magic lives. Imagine honey slowly pouring from a jar. Imagine wind moving through trees at midnight. That's your voice when you slow it down, when you let it land. Not to impress, but to imprint. You see, most people speak to be liked. They fill the air with noise. They rush to the next sentence. They talk like they're afraid of the silence between words. But you start to understand. The silence is the seduction. You let the sentence breathe. You let your tone be soft, but not apologetic. Warm, but not begging. Curious, but not chasing. A man's body responds to sound long before it responds to touch. Your voice is vibration. It travels through the air, into his chest, through his spine. When it's high-pitched or rushed, it bounces off. But when it's slow, grounded, and intentional, it anchors in him, it stays. You don't have to be sultry or scripted, you just have to be present. Speak like every syllable carries weight, like you know he's listening with more than his ears. Because the right tone, said in the right moment, does more than turn him on, it haunts him. He could hear 50 voices in a day, but yours lingers. There's a reason they say it's not what she said, it's how she said it. When your voice becomes an extension of your certainty, when it flows from your body like music you didn't rehearse, that's when he leans in. That's when he starts remembering lines you barely remember speaking. Because you weren't just talking, you were transmitting energy. And I know what you're thinking. What should I say? How should I say it? But it's not about the words, it's about the woman behind the words. You could say, I missed you, or come here, or even just whisper his name, but if it's real, if it's rooted, if it's dripping in self-trust, he'll feel it in his bones. So speak slow, speak low, speak like every word is a gift he doesn't get from anyone else. Because the truth is, most men are touched every day, but they are rarely spoken to with intention. And that's where you rise above the noise. That's how you go from a moment to a memory. Now stay with me, because the voice may be the sound, but what follows next is the touch that seals it. The kind of touch that doesn't just arouse him, it grounds him. Let's go deeper. Number 3, the touch. Stop performing, start guiding. It's not the touch that excites him, it's the intention behind it. A woman who knows her power doesn't chase sensation, she creates stillness that shocks the system. Let's clear something up, my friends. Your touch is not decoration, it's not foreplay, it's leadership in disguise. And when you understand that, when you stop touching like you're following a script and start touching like you're holding a truth, everything changes. Now picture this, you're with him. It's quiet, it's close, he leans in, but instead of rushing, instead of grabbing, you slow the whole world down. Your hand rises, not desperate, not dramatic, just steady, like you're reading his story. You place your palm on his chest, and suddenly, he stops breathing. Why? Because that touch isn't asking, it's telling. Telling him that you're here, that you see him, and that you're not performing, you're guiding. Too many women touch to please, to prove, to perform. They think if they do it the way he likes, they'll earn the moment. But the woman who commands presence, she touches like she's anchoring her own storm. She doesn't reach for approval. She lets her fingers speak in a language only his nervous system can understand. Touch his jaw like you're framing a painting. Rest your hand on the back of his neck like you're calming a wild horse. Let your fingertips hesitate, not because you're unsure, but because you're in control of the moment. That pause, that stillness, that's where the power hits. You are not a prop in this experience. You are the conductor. Your touch sets the tempo. Your hands determine the pace. You decide whether it's time to escalate or to linger in the tension a little longer. And when you touch him with that kind of knowing, oh, he follows. Not because you told him to, but because he can't resist the current you just created. It's like this. Most people think polarity means he leads, she follows. But in truth, true polarity flips when energy is held, not pushed. And a woman who holds that moment, who lets her hand just be on his face or his chest without rushing into the next move, that's the woman who becomes unforgettable. Because she's not just touching flesh, she's touching his core. He doesn't remember the moves, he remembers the message. And the message your hands give him is simple. This is my pace, this is sacred. You're not consuming me, you're entering a moment that I command. So don't rush, don't feed his appetite, lead his energy. Place your hands somewhere with purpose. Let it linger, let it speak. That's how you flip the switch. That's how you become the one he chases long after the lights go out. And now, stay with me, because the hand may guide him, but there's one sound that seals the deal. It's not what you say, it's how you say his name. And when you say it right, you don't just enter his thoughts, you live there. Let's move. Number 4, the breath. Make him feel you without moving. Before you ever touch his skin, your breath already touched his soul. And if he's trembling, that's not your body, it's your presence sneaking through the air. Ladies, your breath isn't background noise. It's the music of the moment. And if you learn how to use it, not just as oxygen, but as orchestra, you won't need to do more. Because your breath alone can make a man forget where he is. It doesn't take a dress. It doesn't take a move. It takes a moment of pause where the silence between inhale and exhale becomes the loudest thing in the room. Now imagine this. You're close. The tension is thick, but you say nothing. Instead of filling the space, you breathe into it. One slow inhale, one soft exhale. No rush, no fear, just presence. You're not trying to be sexy. You're being still. And that stillness, that's what flips the switch. That's what makes his spine straighten and his mind fall completely into you. Because breath is primal. It's older than language. It's the first thing we do when we're born and the last when we leave this world. And when a man feels your breath, truly feels it, he's no longer thinking, he's responding. You're activating something in him that he can't explain, a pull, a pause, a deep-rooted curiosity that whispers, "Who is this woman?" Most women are focused on what to say or do, but a woman who breathes before she speaks, she's dangerous in the best way, because she understands the moment isn't something you rush into, it's something you create. You're not trying to take his breath away, you're showing him how to match yours. Let your breath hit his ear before your words do. Let it warm his neck before your hand ever moves. Let it linger between your lips before the kiss, because that slow, intentional breath tells him everything. I'm not here to perform. I'm here to be felt. You don't need to whisper anything yet. Sometimes just breathing in his direction is the whisper. And when it's slow, deep, grounded, he starts leaning in. He starts adjusting his rhythm to yours. That's power. That's presence. That's how you make him feel you without even moving. And just when he thinks he's figured you out, you lean in closer. You don't say much, but you say his name, and that's the next level of unforgettable. Stay with me. We're just getting started. Number 5, the stillness. Don't move until the moment earns it. The most powerful move is no move at all. When a woman can sit in silence and still shake a man to his core, that's not seduction. That's spiritual warfare. Let's break a myth, my friends. They told you that to keep his attention, you had to be doing something. Smiling, posing, giggling, touching, responding. But here's the truth. Movement without meaning is noise. And the woman who can sit in her stillness and hold space without chasing, without rushing, without breaking the tension, she becomes unforgettable. Imagine a room full of noise. Everyone's trying to impress, trying to entertain, trying to take up space. And then you walk in and do nothing. You breathe. You stand still. You look him in the eye. You don't flinch, you don't fidget, you don't perform. And suddenly the air changes, he feels it. That heaviness in the atmosphere, that's you. That's your energy expanding without even trying. Because stillness isn't emptiness, it's mastery. And the woman who can stay calm in the fire, who can sit there, lips parted, breath slow, eyes soft, but unmoving, she becomes the pulse of the room. Stillness isn't passive, it's pressure. It makes him wonder what's behind your calm. It forces him to sit in the buildup. And here's what most people miss. Men crave anticipation. Not chaos, not confusion, but that slow, deliberate tension where everything feels like it might happen, but hasn't yet. You see, when you move too soon, you give it away. But when you pause, when you hold back just long enough for the silence to speak louder than words, you flip the polarity. You stop being the one reacting, and you become the one who sets the emotional tempo. Stillness doesn't say, "I'm waiting on you." It says, "I've already arrived." It's presence without performance. It's softness with weight. And when you hold it long enough, he leans in. Not because you teased, not because you tried, but because he felt the authority in your pause. It's like a storm building in the distance. You don't need lightning yet. The tension in the air says everything. And next, once he's leaned in, once his body is hanging on your breath and his eyes are searching for permission, that's when you say his name. One word. That's all it takes. Because when stillness is followed by intention, you don't just leave a mark, you rewrite his memory of the moment. Stay close. We're about to flip the switch even deeper. Number 6, the whisper. Speak straight into his nervous system. It's not what you say, it's how close you say it. A whisper is the language of trust. And when it's wrapped in truth, it bypasses his body and goes straight to his soul. Let me tell you something, my friends. A whisper, when done right, is not just sound, it's an invasion. It slips past every defense, every guard, every logical thought in his head. And it plants itself right in his nervous system. It's not loud. It doesn't need to be. It's close. And closeness, real closeness, is what most people are afraid of. Most women are out here thinking they need the perfect line, the clever comeback, the seductive quote they saw online. But the woman who whispers from within, who speaks not to impress but to reveal, she stops time. She doesn't try to be remembered. She becomes unforgettable. Now picture this. You're close. The space between you and him is barely a breath. Your lips brush the air around his neck, his jaw. You haven't said a word yet, but he's already listening. He's already leaning in. Because he can feel it coming. And then you speak, not loud, not for effect, but just enough that your breath carries the message straight into his bloodstream. What do you say? You say what's real. I feel safe with you. I've never wanted anyone like this. I'm not scared. I'm here. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be true. Because in that whisper, he hears more than words. He hears who you are. And when he knows that the whisper wasn't for performance, but for him alone, you become a private memory, sealed and sacred. Because here's the secret. A whisper doesn't ask for attention. It gives it. And when your energy is behind every word, when your truth rides the wind of your breath, he doesn't just hear you, he feels chosen. You didn't seduce him with volume. You disarmed him with intimacy. You said, without saying, "This side of me is reserved for you." And just like that, he's marked, branded by a sound no one else will ever hear. Stay with me now, because the next move, it'll leave him begging to be claimed. Number 7, the name, say it like it means something. Say his name like it's the only language your soul knows, not to get his attention, but to remind him who he is when he's with you. Ladies, let me tell you something sacred. You can call a man 1,000 names, babe, baby, hun, but none of them carry the gravity of his actual name, spoken slowly, sensually, intentionally. When you say a man's name with your whole energy behind it, you're not just talking, you're invoking. You're not just speaking to the man in front of you. You're calling something ancient in him forward. There's a reason why, in moments of real emotion, we use names, not nicknames, not titles, but that one word that's his. It's the most powerful sound he's ever known. And when it comes from your lips, it hits different. It grounds him. It strips the noise out of the moment. It says, "This is real, and I see you." Picture this. You're close. His breath is shallow. Yours is slower. You're not rushing to fill space. You're owning it. Then your hand grazes his chest, or maybe his cheek. You lean in, and you say it. His name. No performance, no rush. Just that one sound, soft, full, and anchored in your presence. And that moment, that's not about lust anymore. That's intimacy. That's ownership, not of him, but of your own power to make even a single word feel like home. Because when a woman says a man's name like she means it, he forgets every other voice in his life. Every other moment melts. All that exists is you, him, and the truth in that sound. You're not just calling out to his body, you're inviting his spirit to show up. This is not about control, it's not about ego, it's about remembrance. Because when you say his name from a grounded place, from the woman who knows who she is and isn't afraid to let him feel it, you awaken something he didn't even know was asleep. And most men, they rarely hear their name like that. They hear it when they're in trouble, when they're being called out. But when they hear it from you, from lips that carry warmth, from a woman who is fully present, it changes them. So say it slowly. Let the syllables melt. Let your voice dip. Let him feel that this moment is different, that it's sacred, not because of what you're doing, but because of who's saying it. And in that moment, when your breath brushes his ear and you say that name like it's a prayer, he won't just want more. He'll crave the woman who made him feel like more. And baby, that woman is you. Stay close, because we're about to take this energy and burn it into his memory. Number 8, the energy. He'll remember what you didn't say. He won't remember the moves you made. He'll remember the energy you held when you didn't have to do a damn thing. Let me talk to you, my friends. There's a moment right before the touch, before the tension breaks, where most people panic. They perform. They fill the space with movement, noise, effort, because they've been taught that silence is awkward. That stillness means you're unsure. But let me tell you something bold and true. The most magnetic woman in the room does less, and her energy does everything. This is the secret no one talks about. Your energy is your loudest language. You don't need choreography. You don't need technique. You need stillness that pulses. You need presence that hums. You need to be so anchored in yourself, so unapologetically there, that he doesn't know whether to reach for you or bow to you. Picture this. The lights are low. He's close. The air between you is thick with possibility. And you don't flinch. You don't speak. You don't rush to close the gap. You sit in that electricity like a goddess sits on her throne, poised, peaceful, dangerous. Because here's the truth. Most women are afraid of silence and intimacy. But the woman who can hold that space, who can let her energy do the work, she becomes the memory he can't get out of his bones. You're not just a body in front of him. You're a moment he will never experience again. Not because you said something clever, not because you performed like he's seen before, but because you made him feel like he earned it. You created gravity, and he fell into it. And that's feminine power. That's not seduction, that's command. You didn't chase, you didn't tease, you stood still, and he trembled. And the wild part? You never raised your voice, you never even moved. And now he's addicted, not to your body, but to your presence. So the next time you're with him, when the breath is thick and the moment hangs in the air like a secret, pause. Let your stillness speak louder than words. Let your certainty become his tension. And let him feel that this moment isn't just given, it's chosen. Because the real ones don't remember what you said. They remember what they felt when you said nothing at all. And you, baby girl, you are unforgettable silence wrapped in feminine fire.